I'm very happy that you have joined today. It's a pleasure for us to show you the Alteryx, the tool that we are really passionate about, the tool that will allow you to automate your Excel work. If Philip, could you kindly change the screen? Yeah, I will just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Emil, and I am an Alteryx partner. Together with Bartek, we co-founded a company called DataPal, and we are working in the Alteryx field for a couple of years. Because I am really passionate and because I very often share my knowledge around the Alteryx, I was chosen as one of the Alteryx aces. So I'm in the really small group of 50 people around the world that are really passionate about the tool and are really keen to share that passion with others. And now, Wolfgang, our account executive.
I think Philipp will introduce himself
I will
first.
start with my short introduction. Yeah, thanks, Emil, for the quick introduction. I'm Philipp Brinckmann. I'm a sales engineer at Alteryx. I'm using Alteryx for over 3 years now, and I was a power user at my current employers and my former employers, of course. And my job here at Alteryx is helping our customers to leverage the Alteryx platform, giving trainings and trying to spread the knowledge and the use of Alteryx and show our customers how easy it is to apply the software, gain the most out of the data, and make their lives a bit easier in the day-to-day work. Now over to you, Wolfgang.
Thank you very much, Philipp. Last but not least, Wolfgang Latschen, my name. I'm account executive at Alteryx, and I'm working very closely together with Philipp at many accounts here in EMEA. And I'm dealing with EPM, BI, analytics topics, especially financial planning, the last 2 decades. And in my project, I always had some issues regarding the variety of data sources, for example, or also the complexity of the business logic or the granularity of planning and reporting structures and many other challenges. And I sometimes thought, isn't there something like a Swiss Army knife, which is based at the one hand on standards, and at the other hand, it could be also more flexible or agile to deal with this stuff. And today, I know Alteryx is definitely the best answer to tackle these challenges. And now we go to our agenda. What are we going to present today? At the beginning, we are talking about Alteryx. Who is Alteryx? What is Alteryx? What is the platform? What is our philosophy? And afterwards, we go a deep dive with Emil. We go into the tool, into the Alteryx Designer, which is the main tool, and then we start. The most important thing, we will end with the most important thing is how to get started with Alteryx. There are some options, and the best option, of course, is the trial version and the community. And Emil will and Philipp will tell you a lot about this at the end, that you can go directly straight away to the desk and work with Alteryx. Next slide, please. Yeah, Alteryx, just a few figures here are mentioned. What I find very interesting is that almost the major part, almost half of the biggest companies, enterprises worldwide are working with Alteryx. And what also is very astonishing is the community. It's really a huge community where you can find within, let's say, approximately 1 hour every answer, and that means you always can proceed, and you're not stuck in your things what you're going to do. And of course, we have a long experience. Is also indicated here, and we are at the New York Stock Exchange since 5 years now, and our customers, our accounts are all over the world and all industries. Just a few consultancy firms mentioned, PwC, like KPMG, where Philipp is coming from, for example, but also Accenture, Thomson Reuters, BDO, retailers, manufacturers, Adidas, Siemens, Walmart, 7-Eleven, Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola, AkzoNobel, Merck, Allianz, just a few of them. And also there's a big reference around the banking insurance industry. And some of them, the biggest are Bank of America, or in Europe, HSBC, Barclays, or UBS. When we are talking about, the next slide, please. Thank you, Ange. There is something happening at the moment that we are realizing there are some services like here from Vantage Partners, for example, that we are investing a lot regarding AI, regarding machine learning, regarding analytics, advanced analytics, but at the end, just a few people, just a portion of that, just a fifth is realizing and perceiving the benefits. That means only a few are able to make these data-driven decisions. And I would say it has something to do with lack of professional resources, like data scientists or data engineers. It still has to do something with the predominant spreadsheet culture in the companies and the silo distributed data and processes across the various places in enterprise. And if we confess to ourselves or not, it is a matter of fact that this gap exists and this is still widening. And our answer to that is analytics for all. We call it analytics for all, or you can also say the democratization of data. And when we change the next slide, then we see that you can decide you stay where you are. There's just a question, feel you comfortable with the situation, or you would like to change something. And if you say you would like to change something, how does this new world look like? And at the one hand, there is a survey from IDC, for example, that says 78 million advanced data workers spend at least 7 hours a week with manual processes, manual tasks. And we all know that these processes are error-prone, not collaborative, not audible, and very slow. And if you calculate from a monetary perspective, just let's say 1 day a week, this is 20%, and you calculate, let's say 80K gross per one employee, you come to an efficiency gain about 16K per employee, or let's say 1.6 million per 100 employees. And then you can see very quickly that it is worth to go for it, worth to assess the situation. And we assist the companies, the enterprises, within analytical maturity assessment. And regarding also, we have our own value engineering department, which is calculating exactly the value you could gain of this sustainable transformation and make it successful. And that means everybody at the end, regardless of the skill set, like a data scientist, business analyst, but also the leadership or the management, just a simple user can use our tool and make data-driven decisions. That means we call it for easy, everything, everywhere, and everyone. And I just tell one example of that is that easy. We had a POC last week with Philipp together. It was an accounting department of a big bank in Germany. And we got in the evening at 8 o'clock the data. And in the morning, next morning, it was prepared everything for the CFO. And this gain of efficiency was from what it was taking approximately 4 or 5 days before to just a few minutes after. And this shows that it is really to go for this investigation, this assessment, and to do it together and just to try it out. Just download our trial licenses and work together with Philipp and me in the solution engineering for according your use cases. And at this stage, I would like to hand over to Emil, who will show you in detail a deep dive in the functionality of the Alteryx Designer.
Yeah. Thanks, Wolfgang. But before we go to Emil, I would just quickly jump in and take the opportunity.
Sorry, I skipped you. Sorry. I skipped you.
No problem. I would just very quickly to show the audience what the Alteryx automation platform looks like and what we propose to our customers and our users. So the Alteryx automation platform is basically like a Swiss Army knife that can connect to each kind of data in any data that lies anywhere. So here on the left-hand side, you can see we can connect to warehouses, applications like Salesforce, connect to simple Excel files, which Emil will show later on, and for example, UiPath or any other big data warehouse or sportable data lakes today. And then we are able, with our automation platform, to work with this data, transform the data, enrich the data, analyze the data, and we do this in an environment that everybody can work with. So from the IT to the data engineer, the analyst, the business users, we can do it on-prem or in a hybrid environment or in the cloud. So this is all possible in our platform. And in the end, of course, we can put the data that is being analyzed or cleansed and enriched with other data sources. Again, we can put it back to data warehouses, to a Tableau visualization, for example, or just output an Excel file. So just a brief overview of our products. Here you can see again on the left-hand side where we connect to the data. We'll focus today on the Designer desktop, where we do the data preparation, the data workflows that will be built here in the Designer. After that, data flows to the server, which can scale the whole data analytics process across an organization. It's completely governed. You can automate your workflows, collaborate with your peers, with other colleagues in your organization, and share little apps within your organization so that others can leverage what you as an Alteryx user have built, so that everybody can gain the insights from data with the Alteryx platform. The last two pieces here, the Auto Insights, for example, is a dashboarding solution where you just put the data in and Auto Insights analyzes the data and shows you how the data or shows you the insights in the data. So you are not you don't need to build like a Power BI dashboard, for example, or Tableau dashboard. This is all being done as soon as the data is loaded into Auto Insights, and Auto Insights also tells you why did something happen with a root cause analysis, for example. Last thing is machine learning, which we also have in our portfolio. So you can also use machine learning tools to predict the future, predict future outcomes of your data, and all done in a one end-to-end platform for all business users and end users. But with this, I will just hand over to Emil, who will show you now a use case in the Designer desktop of Alteryx. Emil, stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Just please tell me if you see my screen. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you. So today we will talk about one particular use case that is really simple, but what is important, I will be able to show you how to load the data, how to standardize the data, how to clean it, how to join different data sets together. Those are the things that usually business users are doing on a daily basis with Excel. And unfortunately, very often this is like a manual work that people need to perform in order to, I don't know, prepare a report or to make some analysis, to do some recommendations. I was doing that on daily basis a couple of years ago when I was working in the banking sector, and unfortunately I needed to do it manually. So each day I was doing the same repetitive tasks, and I would love to help other people and take their work on the next level, because with the Alteryx, everything that we will build will be automated. So to present that, I will use the sales data, because the sales data is really easy to understand and really easy to show. And I will do my best to show what are the differences between the Excel and the Alteryx when you are actually building a workflow, when you are actually working with the data. So this is how the Alteryx actually looks. I will give you a brief introduction of it. At the top, we have plenty of different tools that are available, and we can easily drag and drop them into the canvas. A canvas is a white area below. in which we will actually build our workflow, our processes. We have various tools available for us. They are grouped into different categories, so it's pretty easy to understand what each of them are doing. But what is important is that majority of the data workers need only a couple of the tools that are available in the Alteryx to perform their business transformation, to achieve their business goals. So even if there is like more than 300 tools in the Alteryx, we will use only a couple of them for the demonstration purposes. So here I have a couple of actually screenshots just to make my life a little bit easier. So I will remember what I want to present to you, but at the same time, this will give you a really good overview why and how Alteryx is documenting itself. Like it's documenting itself really well, so it's really easy to have a good understanding what is happening in the workflow. And unfortunately, that's not the case when we are working with the Excel. When we have like manual processes, it's really hard to document everything, and we need to do it manually probably in some kind of Word document. So as a starting point, we need to look at the data, which unfortunately isn't in this folder. So bear with me, please. Datasets, webinar, inputs. Like I have mentioned, the data itself is really simple. I have only a couple of columns here. And this is a sales data. We have date, invoice value, customer name, customer ID, some really basic stuff. And to start working with the data, we need to load the data first. So let me do that. And to do that, we need just to drag and drop a specific tool, a specific file into the canvas. We can pick a sheet name, but this file has only one sheet, so I will not pick anything. And we have the data in the workflow. If we would like to run the process, we have two options to do that. We can click Run button, or I have a shortcut, which I will use to make my life a little bit easier. At the bottom, we see how the data looks like. We see what are the problems with the data. For example, here we see that around 15% of it have some kind of issues related to, in this particular example, to the tailgating spaces that are in the data set. And when we are working with the data, for example, and we would like to do a VLOOKUP, we need to make sure that each of the column, each cell is standardized, because thanks to that, we will ensure that our calculations will be correct. Okay, and what happens if I would like to load one more file to the workflow? I will first show what I would need to do in Excel to actually do that. I would copy paste the relevant columns, the relevant positions into the file which I want to expand. What is important, the data sets are really small, so I'm doing this really quickly. I don't have any issues with that. But if the data becomes bigger, it takes more and more time to actually do that operation. What is also important, we have here 20 different files. If I would like to combine 20 different files, it would take me a while. So fortunately for us and for me, Alteryx is very efficient in loading the files like that. First, I will show you one of the ways. If I would be interested only to add another data set, I could use the union tool. And thanks to the union tool, I would do exactly the same operation that I have done in the Excel. I just copy pasted one data set below the second one. And this can be very helpful, but in our particular example, it will be much easier to actually use the input tool and put here an asterisk. If I am interested in loading only the data for 2021, I just need to look at the naming convention and replace the rest of the data, the rest of the name, with the asterisk. Thanks to that, I will be able to load 12 files at once in less than 1 second. And if I would like to load everything from this particular folder, I just need to replace everything with the asterisk, click Run button, and we have 20 files loaded, 11,000 of record very, very quickly, very efficiently. And what's also important, if we are doing this operation once and we will save the workflow, we just need to replace the input files and the process will still be working. So this is the process that I will recreate quickly. Let's start with the first tool, a sort tool. It's very important for the analysis. It's very often to sort the data first to make our life a little bit easier, because we will have a better understanding what is happening with the data. So I will sort the data by date and by the invoice value. One of them will be in ascending order, the second one in descending, and I just need to click the Run button and I will see how the data transformed. I can also observe what is happening in each step just by clicking around in the Alteryx to have a better understanding what is happening in which stage. Okay, let's come back to our Excel. I would like to show you that, in my opinion, this data set isn't structured properly. If I would create this data set, it would make much more sense to put all the values related to the financial information. I would put them together. For example, the customer ID, it makes more sense for me to have a customer name first. And usually operations like that helps a lot to have our life a little bit easier, because some of the columns, they just make sense together. It's easier to understand what is happening in the data. And here I just quickly put the select tool. I will actually undo that and do it once more, because I think I have done it too quickly. So I am putting a select tool in order to move those columns around. And I can quickly do that. There are two arrows here. I'm just highlighting the column which I'm interested in, and I am moving them around. This is a really quick way to organize your data. Okay, and now I'm also aware that some of the zip codes have null positions inside of it. Like 11% of the data have some kind of issue associated with it. So for purpose of our analysis, I will just remove it. In order to do that, I can use the filter function. I can just drag and drop it, pick the relevant column. In this particular example, this will be a zip code, and I need to find or remove all positions that aren't null. And allow me to run the workflow. And what happened? We have two different outputs coming from this tool. One of them are all the positions that met this particular condition, so more than 9,000 records. On the other output, we see the positions that have zip code equal to null, so there are around 1,000 records like that. And what is important, in the Alteryx, we still have this information that in Excel we probably would just delete it. So I will show it how I would manage that in the Excel. I would click this particular column and I will highlight the blanks position. We need to remember that if the dataset will be bigger and this data source wouldn't be sorted and the data would be structured in a way that the blank positions aren't next to each other, this is really a big memory investment for our computers. So because this is a small data set, I'm allowed to do that. But very often, if you will have a bigger data set, unfortunately, the Excel would crash, and I was there very often. And with the Alteryx, I still have this data and I don't need to do anything about it. Like I still keep it. If I will have like a solution for that, I could maybe apply a specific formula to clean the data and join those, union those data sources together to continue the process further. The next step would be cleaning the trailing white spaces. It's really simple by using the data cleansing tool, which is very robust and it have several applications. In this particular example, we would like to clean the customer name column. So I will just pick it from the available field columns. And I'm interested in cleaning leading and trailing white spaces. I will just run the workflow and the data was cleaned very quickly. What I wanted also to do is to standardize it because not each of the names are, let's say, formatted correctly in my opinion. So I will click modify case options and I will change it to title case and I will run the workflow once more. And thanks to that, we see that the data looks much more appealing and it's also important in some situations, especially if you would like to join the data, it's good that you have them in the same format. Okay, the next step is filtering the data by relevant region. So I will split the data to keep only the data for the AMER region. And this point will be especially important nowadays. In the future, in the moment, I will explain why. Because I had a really similar situation in my life when I was working with Excel. Okay, now I need to do some calculations. Those are the building of formula in Alteryx is really similar to what we are doing in Excel. It's really simple. So in this particular case, I'm interested in, actually I need to, before I will do that, I need to do one more thing. I need to add a join tool because we need to add two different data sets together. Because the formula which I wanted to build is the goal of it is to create the data in the proper format. So I would like to multiply the data by the currency converter in order to achieve a specific result. And here I have a mapping table that have small mistake in it, but that's on purpose. I'm able to copy paste this mapping table from any of the other different data source and actually keep it in the Alteryx itself. And copy pasting directly into the workflow is very convenient because I don't need to waste time and it's easy to maintain. Okay, so I'm interested in joining the data by the column called currency. In the Alteryx, I can easily pick a lot of different columns in order to perform the join. So I'm not limited to join the data source only by one column, but in our particular case, that will be sufficient. Now I will run the workflow and we join those data sets really, really quickly. And here the join tool have three different outputs. The first output is showing us the data that was joined with different data sources. On the left side, we see all the positions that hasn't been joined. And on the right side, we see all the values that hasn't been joined from this data source. So this allows us to quickly analyze what is happening. However data sets are joining together, this is really, really convenient for the user. And now allow me to create a formula which I have mentioned before. So I would like to multiply the invoice value by the USD column. And thanks to that, I will be able to quickly create a proper new column. And how we can name it here? Maybe we will name it invoice value in USD. So keep it simple. I will pick relevant data type and I will do another calculation. So now I'm interested in calculating what is the profit of our transaction. So I will take the invoice value and subtract a column called our cost in USD. And I will run the workflow. So very quickly, we perform the data transformations and the data calculation. And what I wanted to mention also is that the Alteryx is showing us what will be the result of our application, of our mathematical operation in this particular case. So thanks to that, we can have understanding if our logic is working correctly or not, without running the workflow, which might be important if we have a really big data set. Okay, so now I will show you how to create pivot tables. We are using the summarize tool in order to achieve that. And let's imagine that I'm interested in showing the date and showing the profit for each of the month. And we see all the values in one place very quickly. And another thing which I'm interested in is showing a region splitted by profit. And everything is done correctly because we are using Alteryx. That's the first thing, and the process is relatively small. But I remember a couple of years ago, I was maintaining a report that took me around like 1 hour to complete, and usually the report was only showing the region of AMER, so only the data for the America. Unfortunately, during one really busy period for me, someone came back to me, okay, and can you do that, but to show to me all the positions? And you know, in order to actually achieve that, I would need to start from scratch because I would need to join different union the data sources together. I would need to perform some calculations, unfilter the data once more, like I would just need to start from scratch. And in the Alteryx, I can just remove this and run the workflow once more, and I would have an answer in a really structured way without any problems. I could deliver that to the client. One additional thing that I would like to mention is that if the mapping table, which I have brought to the datasets before, isn't working correctly, I can amend it directly in the workflow itself. So I can quickly correct it, and I have the data for all of the regions, and that was very simple to do. Two last things that I will mention now. One of them is how to output the data, because this is really important. So majority of us, probably, if you are on this call, we are working on the Excel files. And I would like to create a new file that would contain all the data from this particular process. And I will save it using the output tool. And in matter of seconds, the process was run, and we have all the positions in the structured way, and we can use that process all over again. But let's imagine that I'm interested in splitting that based on, for example, date column. I can easily pick relevant column here split the data based on the date column. So thanks to that, I will have each month on different sheet. And actually it didn't work. Let me double check. Append suffix change file table. That will work. So I think yeah, sometimes things aren't working as we would expect them to work at the beginning, but it's really easy to correct our mistakes in the Alteryx, or maybe not this time. Output date. Okay, actually, it's even better because I split it. Where is that? Output data were written to outputs all data. I know what's happening. Override script. And now, with me. So it took me a while, but I was able to split the data into different sheets very quickly. And now if I would need to do that manually in Excel, that would take me a while. So I'm happy that I'm able to do that very quickly without spending a lot of time on that. And last thing that I would like to mention, because before I will pass the voice to Philip, is that you can also download the data from different sources. You can download the data from your Outlook folder, from your Outlook tool. So before our call, I connected to my Outlook tool, and now with this specific tool and this specific configuration, I'm downloading all the emails from this particular folder, and I'm saving them in the specific location, which is very convenient for some of the users, because let's imagine that your client is sending you the data on daily basis on your email box, and you can just quickly download them from there and perform your daily, monthly, or weekly process without downloading the data manually. And besides the Outlook connector, we have plenty of different connectors available in the Alteryx. Some of you might know about the tool called Tableau. You can export the data directly from the Alteryx and put it Tableau only with one tool. And this is really simple and very convenient for the user. And Philip, if you could cover what other connectors we have in the tool, that would be amazing.
Yes, thank you very much, Emil, for the use case and the explanations on how easy it is with Alteryx to work in Excel and to quickly transform your data. You ended with the Tableau connector, and I've put here on the screen as well as a part of different connector sources of third-party providers. So in Alteryx, you can connect, or we can natively connect to over 80 data inputs and over 40 outputs and formats and apps that are natively in Alteryx. But of course, we have connectors to third-party solutions to other software like Power BI, to Tableau, or as Emil showed, to the whole Microsoft suite, to OneDrive, to SharePoint, Outlook, as well as AWS, SAP, Google Analytics, and so on and so forth. So there are many possibilities for you to connect straight away to your data, so you do not need to save data from software to your hard drive, then upload it into Alteryx, so you can really directly connect Alteryx to different kinds of software. But where do we get these connectors that are not natively built into the designer? And this is in the Alteryx gallery. So if you Google Alteryx community, this is our central community where you can look for solutions. If you have a problem in Alteryx, you can just Google it there and search for an answer there. in the Alteryx community. And there is also a part that's called gallery. And then there is link for data connectors, and I will show it. I can show it briefly later. But there in the data connecting or data connectors part, you have different kinds of connectors that are designed by third parties or by our developers, and you can just download them. They are installed in the Alteryx Designer, and then you can straight away use them in the Alteryx user interface as a normal input tool, as Emil has shown earlier. Our community, a few notes on that. And Wolfgang already told earlier, has over 400,000 users or user posts, over 300,000 members, over 27,000 solutions, and it's growing each and every day. We have communities or local communities in Germany, in France, in China. I think the Polish community is growing quite fast right now, but the majority, of course, is still in English, as Alteryx is an English originated in the US, so an English-speaking software. So this is the major part of what the community is written in this largest community for Alteryx. We have an average answer time if you post a new problem, which is less than an hour. I think it's roughly about 40 minutes. So this is basically how fast you can proceed with your workflows when you get stuck and do not find the answer in the community. But this is fairly it's not very often that you don't find an answer fairly quickly. Next, I would like to deep dive in how you can learn Alteryx, because once you start downloading the software, you would like to have some resources and try to figure out, okay, how can I start learning, because nobody can, or not all can really pay for training courses and all that kind of stuff. And this is why learning Alteryx is for free, and we have all the learning resources in our community as well. So there's a header called Academy, and there you can find learning paths where you can deep dive into different learning paths for HR, for tax, for example, or just general knowledge in Alteryx. We have interactive lessons where you can, which is like short videos where you can interact with the videos, give answers with little short tasks that you need to answer. You can drag and drop tools in these videos, so that it's an interactive way of learning the software, and it gives you a brief overview of the different tools and building blocks that Emil has shown, and many more of the different ribbon tabs that you've seen. Of course, there are more videos on macros, for example, and all this kind of stuff that you can find in the Academy. And another very great way and fast way to learn Alteryx or the designer is the weekly challenge or the weekly challenges. And basically, when you want to learn a new software, you just learn the software when you really start applying and working with the software. And that's why we've designed weekly challenges. These are like little tasks where you have like an input file, a set of data, and you get a desired output file, or the aim where you want to get your data to, and then you need to design the process and the workflow, how to get from the input to the output file or the output design of the data. And we have currently, I think, around 350 challenges of different kinds of difficulties. So there's beginners, intermediates, and advanced challenges, and they are categorized into different kinds of tools. So we got Excel tools where you just need to do some data transformation and data preparation, what we've seen with Emil today. But also we got spatial analytics and reporting tasks, macro tasks, and so on and so forth. So this is a great way how to start learning Alteryx. Lastly, we got certifications where you can improve your knowledge with little tests, but I will dive into that later on. So the learning paths, briefly touch base on that already. Yeah, we got general learning paths in the Academy. We got some designed for tax and audit, which is basically core Excel work, and also for HR, which really touches topics or relevant topics for these departments in a company. Then again, the question is, why should you get certified? The certifications in Alteryx, you can put them on your CV. You can show them to your employer, and or maybe you were searching for a new job and want to switch employers and want to get into the data analytics field. And this is a great way to show others, okay, I am Alteryx certified. I'm able to work proficiently with a tool. I can do data analytics very fast. And this is a great way, to show your skills and prove yourself on the job market, or if you want to deep dive into a new field. And this is basically the way you go. And there's tons of advantages on why you should get certified. Because when you get certified, you can go through different learnings that you need to do for a certification. And once you've done them, your knowledge will be increased greatly, because you always learn new stuff through the certifications. For example, I do not really touch base with spatial analytics or geospatial stuff, and I only touch base with that during the certifications. And it's a really great way to get to know a new field of analytics in data, and of course in Alteryx. What kind of certifications do we have? So currently we have 5 certifications, starting with the micro credentials on the left. It's a very basic and beginner certification. Then it continues with the designer core, which covers I think about 40 tools. I think it's about roughly 60% of the building blocks in the Alteryx designer, or the mostly used tools. So once you are designer certified or core certified, this is you are on a very good way and a very good level of knowledge in Alteryx designer. Of course, it goes beyond that with the designer advanced, which focuses more on macros, on reporting, on geospatial, and then the expert and predictive certifications, which are really expert certifications, and there are not many people who have accomplished these in the world, so they are very very hard, so to say. We have certification prep guides in the community that prepare you perfectly for these certifications. I'm very confident that once you started learning with the weekly challenges to train yourself in Alteryx, you're on a very good way to finish off with these certifications. So to sum it up, why should you use Alteryx? It's intuitive, it's efficient to use, it's a very approachable way with a nice user interface to get way into analytics in Excel, in SAP, and all different kinds of software that you can connect to. You can build little apps, you can share it with colleagues, with other users. It's a huge community that you can leverage and where you can exchange ideas and tackle different problems and exchange your thoughts on your problems or the problems of others. So it's a very easy and fast way to speed up your data work and maybe take some lift off your or to maybe get some lift off your tail and free up your working day for more important tasks and more important work you want to do. How do you get to start with Alteryx? So if you just go to alteryx.com, you can see on the top right a free trial, and this is basically where you want to go. And then we got 2 versions there: Designer Desktop, which is like an on-prem, and we got the Designer Cloud powered by Trifacta, which is a SaaS solution, which is still in beta testing. So it doesn't cover the full possibilities of the Designer Desktop yet, but beginning of 23, this will be rolled out. So this is how you want to start on how you can start with Alteryx with the trial and start learning. And with this, I would like to thank the audience for your attention, and maybe if Emil and Wolfgang want to touch base again or add some comments, and otherwise I would like the audience to open up the mic for some questions in the audience.
So anyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. In the chat, there is also a link for the trial version that you can use for 30 days.
And of course, you can also reach out directly. You've got our email addresses here in case there's something you want to discuss later on, or you can find us on LinkedIn, of course. So many ways to contact us. Okay, if that's not the case, I would say we could end the session. And thanks for your attention, and feel free to reach out if you have any upcoming queries in the future. And yeah, happy solving with Alteryx.
Thank you for joining. Have a good one. And if you have any questions, just ping us, send us an email, or find us on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.